Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Crystal Ma, and I will be moderating this Ignite stage, which will be officially launching the Youth Engagement Platform, or YEP, which is the primary mechanism that was co-developed by UN MGCY and UNISDR to mobilize, coordinate, and facilitate youth globally to meaningfully contribute to the SFDRR. So joining us today, we have Ricardo Mena, first, who is the Director of the Regional Office of Latin America for UNISDR. We have Dr. Natalia Canem, who is the UN Assistant Secretary General and Deputy Executive Director of UNFPA. And finally, we have Imre Hodzik, who is the youth from Bosnia working in flood risk management. So to kick off this session, Ricardo, could you talk about why UNISDR places importance on the participation of children and youth in disaster risk reduction?
Okay, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to participate in a children and youth session. Long time ago, I was one. Anyway, well, Sendai framework and in general, UNISDR places a very, very high priority for the participation of youth and children in disaster risk reduction. Why? Because we believe children are the best agents for change. And we have seen this repeatedly. Children and youth. You are the future generations that will come with the DRR chip incorporated. We unfortunately didn't come with that capacity or with that accessory. So now you understand, and we have seen so many occasions when actually children and youth have been the ones that have saved hundreds, if not thousands of people from dying because of a natural hazard occurring in their communities. There are many, many examples, and I'm not going to cite one specific, but we know that children can transform their families, and they can convince their parents and their siblings and their friends and their cousins to think about disaster risk reduction, not just how to respond. So children and youth, I think, are the key for the next generation of disaster risk sensitive people around the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Ricardo, for joining us and affirming the importance of youth in disaster risk reduction. So this Ignite stage is organized by the UN MGCY again, which is the official UN General Assembly mandated space for the engagement of children and youth in a number of intergovernmental and allied processes at the UN. We have been a key player in global policy formation since our inception in 1992 as part of Agenda 21. Since then, the UN MGCY has expanded its work into 16 policy processes and has over 6,000 registered youth entities in over 170 countries and territories. The UN MGCY has been and continues to be extremely active in all phases of DRR. This was acknowledged by UNISDR after the Third World Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction. In addition, in the Sendai framework, youth have been specifically highlighted as agents of change who have unique energy, skills, and talents to contribute to DRR design, policy, follow-up, and implementation. Youth have been consistent champions of a holistic approach to disaster risk reduction. We have organized events on DRR in global and regional intergovernmental meetings. For example, the World Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction Children and Youth Forum was organized by UNMGCY in partnership with the CCC as well as UNISDR, and it was attended by the then UN Secretary General, Ban Ki-moon, as well as over 300 other young people, demonstrating children and youth's dedication to taking action on DRR and responsibility in decision making. And in fact, yesterday was the 1-year anniversary of the Compact on Youth and Humanitarian Action, which bridges resilience and humanitarian action and was launched by the DRR Working Group of the UNMGCY in collaboration with various other UN entities, several member states, youth-led organizations, and NGOs. And with that, Irma, my next question is, what is the Youth Engagement Platform, or YEP, and why are we launching it?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Crystal. So now I will give you some facts about Youth Engagement Platform. And today we are going to present you an amazing initiative of UN MGCY to launch this YEP platform in cooperation with UNISDR. As we all know, Sendai Framework says that children and youth are agents of change and should be given space and modalities to contribute to disaster risk reduction. Of course, in accordance with the legislation, national practice, and educational curricula. So there is evidently a need for a platform to support and facilitate youth engagement in disaster risk reduction policy, design, implementation, monitoring, and review. So Youth Engagement Platform builds on the current work of UN MGCY and provide a platform to further enhance engagement of young people in disaster prevention, preparedness, response, and recovery. In addition, also to fight for the rights of youth, but also to express their opinion. So, mission of the Youth Engagement Platform is to support and facilitate the meaningful involvement of young people through an institutionalized, self-organized, and youth-led space within UNISDR that engages across scopes of its activities. So, YEP, Youth Engagement Platform, provides 4 streams in order to engage young people. First one is capacity building stream, then policy and advocacy, then youth action and knowledge stream. So what does capacity building stream offer? So it facilitates youth-led and intergenerational training, knowledge transfer and monitoring in order to produce a generation with a sense of societal responsibility that recognizes the importance of DRR and building resilience. And what is very, very important, it has capacity to contribute. Another stream is policy and advocacy stream, and it facilitates youth participation as an equal stakeholder in Sendai framework implementation, monitoring, follow-up, and review through different official mechanisms. Third is youth action stream, and it showcases youth-led actions on disaster risk reduction, and support these, but also other youth-led activities, sharing best practice and data, in order to empower and equip youth to build resilience in their communities, but also to provide a global space for sharing best practices. And the last stream of Youth Engagement Platform is a knowledge stream, and this stream provides young practitioners with a platform to contribute in formal and informal way to developing and sharing evidence-based best practice and also emerging trends in Sendai framework. So with the outcome that science policy interface and evidence base is enhanced at all stages and all levels of disaster risk reduction policy from contribution by young scientists. So developing an enabling environment which equips young people with the knowledge and also skills, but also connects youth around the globe with different possibilities in order to contribute disaster risk reduction. Youth itself will be able to realize their roles as agents of change, and will be able to create meaningful and effective contribution to 4 priority areas of Sendai framework. And we strongly believe that this is going to be possible through an institutionalized youth engagement platform. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Imra, for giving us a very great overview of the YEP. We're extremely, extremely excited and privileged to be able to launch this at the Ignite stage today. Our next guest is someone from the UNFPA who we have been working extensively with to offer some more insight on youth engagement in DRR. So,
Thank you, Crystal, and thank you for that wonderful explanation. It was really clear. And I think today, in this meeting, we're actually seeing young people in a leadership role, looking at the responsibility that you have taken on in your generation which is the Sustainable Development Generation. 15 years from now, your efforts, and there are over 40 young people who are participating in Global Compact 2017. So these 40 plus young people are on panels. They are co-chairing certain sessions. Some of them will be taking home the ideas that they're gathering here. And I think the formal engagement of young people, where you are not only welcome at the table, but your ideas and your embrace of the new technologies is going to make a difference for how the whole sector regards the concept of leaving no one behind. Young people caught up in a tragedy, a famine, a flood, an earthquake, your life doesn't stop. Your needs continue. And rather than interrupting the cycle of learning, the expectation through these formalities where youth have an equal place to contribute is that your creativity, your understanding, and your ability to network and spread the word about preparation is actually going to build your community and your countries and a better global world. So UNFPA is delighted to participate. Whatever we can do to support you going higher and higher and deeper, we're really happy to do that. Thanks.
I have one more follow-up question.
Yeah.
So you briefly talked about the successes of the Compact on Youth and Humanitarian Actions. How do you think that this could be tied to the YEP?
Well, in fact, the United Nations Security Council has passed resolutions, including the latest one, 2250, that acknowledge that young people are actually peace builders, and that the idea of young people, again, contributing your understanding and your knowledge about things that exacerbate in times of crisis. For example, violence. Gender-based violence affects 1 in 5 people in such circumstances. So your role is to change the world, as you said. Thank you.
Thank you. If any of you guys are interested in learning more about the YEP, please feel free to come and approach us after this presentation, which would be now. Thank you.